Our journey in understanding geometry, it begins with one of the most basic fundamental concept, and that is about how do you plot points on a graph, okay? But before that, we also need to know what is a graph, right? So what you see here is a Cartesian coordinate plane. It basically is a plane that consists of two dimensions, right? One dimension that goes in the horizontal axis from left to right or right to left, however you define it, it is called an x-axis, okay? And likewise, the second dimension, what you see here as a vertical line, is known as the y-axis, and it goes up and down. And of course, there is a positive side and negative side to the y-axis, right? So with the combination of these two axes, the one that goes in the horizontal direction and the vertical direction, what you build is called a Cartesian coordinate plane, okay? It is a two-dimensional plane. Now, because we will be referring to this term Cartesian coordinate plane a lot, and since there is not any other coordinate system we are going to be learning about, so we will simply call this coordinate plane. Whenever we say the word coordinate plane, it means a Cartesian coordinate system, okay? So now that you know about the Cartesian coordinate plane and you know about the x and y axis, you see, just by the intersection of these two axes, we can easily see that this entire graph, it can be divided into four sections, right? The section 1, or it is called as the quadrant 1. It is basically a quadrant in which all the values of x and y axis will be positive in nature, right? And the quadrant 2, it will contain positive value of y axis but the negative value of x axis, right? And likewise, the quadrant 3, it will contain all the negative values of x and y axis. And finally, the quadrant 4, it will contain the positive value of x axis but negative value of y axis. Okay, and then one most important thing is that wherever these two axes intersect, that point is called origin. And always keep in mind that the value of this point, the origin, is always 0, right? It is 0 for x-axis and 0 for y-axis, okay? So now you must be wondering that we have been talking about the negative and positive value of x-axis and y-axis and so on. What does it really mean to us? Why should we bother about the values of those things? Well, I will ask you this question. Let's say I define a point, this point as marked in the red dot, and I say that this point has a name A attached to it, okay? And then I ask you, can you tell me the location of this point A on this x and y coordinate system? Well, you could say that if I move from origin, if I move 5 units and I move to the right direction, I will reach at this point. And then if I go vertically up 4 units, right, then I will reach at point A. And that simply means that the distance of the point A in the direction of x-axis, in the positive direction, will be 5 units, correct? And the distance of point A from the point 0 in the y direction, it will be 4 units. And that is precisely what is known as an ordered pair, okay? So you just learned about what is a point and how to mark the location of a point on x and y coordinate system. And this is called an ordered pair. Why pair? Because every point on this Cartesian coordinate plane will have two values. One value is x value and the second value is y value. That is why it is a pair. And why do we use the term ordered pair? Precisely only because it is in the order just the way you see. There are two values. The first value is always x value and the second value is always y value, right? So this is value 1 and this is value 2. Hence, the values of point A is known as the ordered pair and it always appears in this order. First x, then y. Okay, let us play an exercise of plotting some points or graphing some points on this coordinate system. Alright, so now we have a fresh coordinate system, x and y. It is blank and we will put some values to it and then we will say that we have defined the positive and negative space of x and y values. Alright, and we also have these 4 points. We want to mark these 4 points on this coordinate plane. Alright, so let us begin with the point A. Well, the point A has two values. The x value, which is always the first value, is 3 and the y value, which is always the second value, is 4 units. So what I'll do is Starting from the point 0 where two axes intersect, I will go 3 steps in the positive direction. That will be 1, 2 and 3. So this is my x location of point A, and then y is 4 units in the positive direction, and that will be 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is precisely the location of my point A, and it has 3 and 4 respectively. All right, let's go with point B. Point B has -4 for x and +2 for y. So -4 going in the negative direction from 0 point is 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So this is -4 here. X is -4 and y is +2. That means we will go in the positive direction as 1 and 2, and this becomes my point, that is point B, and let me write the numbers here, -4 and 2. Okay, now let's mark the location of point C. Point C, it has -4 and -3. So both values of x and y are negative, right? And where will that happen? That will happen somewhere in this area, right? The negative values of x and y are in this third quadrant, correct? And that is -4 and -3. We already know -4 is here. So -3 will be 3 steps down, and so C is -4 and -3. So finally, the point D, it has positive value of x-axis, right? And negative value of y-axis. So +2 will be 0, 1 and 2. It will be right here. And -5 going 5 steps in the negative direction of y-axis. It will be right here. So this is my point D. So you see that with the help of the x values, which is always the first value, and the y values, which is always the second value, we were able to mark these 4 points on this coordinate plane. And what you just covered is basically how to graph an ordered pair of values on a Cartesian coordinate plane. So let's take a pause here and go to our quiz and exam modules to understand a little bit more about the coordinate system.